Okay, ready? Ready? Guys? Okay, here we go. We're talking about the cardiovascular system. Say yes. Okay, one more time for old time's sake. Come on. Who loves you? Clearly not Timmy, huh?
Timmy.
Yeah, well, you go ahead and keep believing that. Okay, real quick, what's the goal of the body for the 1 millionth time? That's right. So watch. What's the goal of the cardiovascular system? That's right. You have to maintain blood flow. Ready? Maintain blood flow. And blood flow in medical terms is abbreviated Q. So the goal of the cardiovascular system is to maintain blood flow, maintain Q. What's the most important parts of the body to maintain blood flow to? The core. So you got to get it to your brain and your vital organs. Say yes. The body will sacrifice non-essential parts of your body in order to maintain blood flow to the core. Say yes. So watch. I'm going to teach you something. Well, maybe. Do you have extra blood?
No. Yeah, but shouldn't we if we are able to donate blood?
Very good. That's very good. That's high level thinking. That's exactly right. If you donate blood, do you die?
No.
So do you have extra blood?
Yep.
Where do you store that extra blood? In your face? Where?
Veins.
Right, you better write this down. Watch. Watch. Write this down, never forget it. Well, son of a... You store extra blood in your veins. What veins?
I don't know. I got two already.
You're right, you don't. Okay, watch. You store extra blood, venous blood, in your veins of your
Body.
face.
Four letters?
Yeah, 4 letters. That was bad. Here, let's do this. There.
Brain?
There.
No, that's
We wish. Come on. Come on.
Legs? Lungs? No, not in your lungs.
Oh, that's an erase. Hang on.
I gotta know 4-letter words. Legs.
In your legs. Where do you store extra blood?
In your legs.
In your legs. Tell me you got that. Okay, we learned this. I'll never forget it because I looked at the video.
Because it was in the puffer things that circulate.
The puffer things?
Yeah, those pillows that get wrapped around your legs after surgery.
Okay.
Compression.
Sequential decompression devices?
That's what I
The puffer things.
said. Stop.
Go online and look for the puffer things. You know what you'll find? You'll find one-hitters there.
They're white, and that's all I got.
Here we go. Is there any pressure in your veins? That's beautiful. We went over this. There's no pressure in the veins. Joe, is there any pressure in the veins? No. And if Joe said it, you know it's right. Got me? All right. So watch. Please get this. Look at your heart. It's beating. We went over this. This is review again. Watch. How many hearts you got? Apparently we didn't go over this. How many hearts you got? Well, if we don't have one, then we don't. You know you have more than none.
4. 2 on right side and
2.
left side, or no?
That's right. You got 2 hearts. You got the right side of the heart and the left side of the heart. Tell me you got that. Okay, now watch. Write this down. Tattoo it someplace. Any place. I don't care. The right side of the heart. Pumps. What kind of blood? Say the opposite. Good. The right side of the heart pumps blood that's high in CO2 and low in O2. Where? To the lungs. What do you do in the lungs? Work with me. Watch. You take on oxygen and you blow off carbon dioxide. Say yes. Now that blood in the lungs is oxygenated. And where does all that oxygenated blood go? That's right, to the left side of the heart. Watch it. So all that newly oxygenated blood is going to come back to the left side. And the left side of the heart pumps blood that is high in O2 and low in CO2 to where? What body? To the cells of the body. Say yes. You're with me. You're following this. All right? So watch. Which side of the heart pumps more blood? The right or the left? Ooh. You know what? I'm going to ask you that one day, maybe at Festival Foods if I see you. I ran into my buddy's wife. She's a teacher, right? So we were talking about retiring, right? So she's going to be able to retire in a few years. And I go, what do you want to do when you retire? And it came out immediately. I want to work at Festival Foods.
Maybe she wants to get a good discount. Food system.
Watch. The right and left side of the heart pump exactly the same amount of blood. Do you understand that? The right and left side of the heart pump exactly the same amount of blood. If they don't, that's what? Bad for you. It also has a name. Congestive heart failure. Have you ever heard of congestive heart failure? Do you want congestive heart failure? No. You want to go to Gateway and breathe. Are you with me? All right, now watch. Because the right and left side of the heart pump exactly the same amount of blood, wherever that side of the heart got the blood, if that side of the heart is failing, the blood will back up into where that blood came from. That made sense. Not even kidding. So watch. Watch. Where did the left side of the heart get its blood from? The lungs. So if the left side of the heart starts failing, where does the blood back up into? The lungs. And you get a condition called pulmonary edema. Have you ever heard of pulmonary edema?
Yeah.
Well, you don't want it. Say yes. Okay. If the right side of the heart, if it fails, where does the blood back up into? I'm going to give you a hint because I like you, as far as you know. The right side of the heart gets all of that venous blood dumped into it from the body. Are you with me? So where's that blood going to back up into? I just told you. The body. Say yes. Watch. You're walking around, right? This class sucks. Them Duke boys got my money. You hear about Tom Petty dying? Yeah, you know what killed him? No. Not reading the textbook. That's what killed him. Now, you know what I think? I think he had left main disease. And he had a big blood clot, and he went into ventricular fibrillation and died. Watch, it'll come out. I'll be right. And then you know what I get? Nothing. Watch. Watch.
Oh.
That's
what's gonna
drool.
happen to your
That's
legs.
drool.
That's what's gonna happen to your legs.
Okay, watch.
They're gonna leak out.
We are upright depending on our profession most of the day, right? See, if you have another profession, you're this way.
Oh.
So watch. Does blood have weight? Does blood have, like, can it, which has more pressure, down here or up here? So if your right side of your heart fails and the blood starts backing up in the body, because we're upright most of the day, where does that blood start accumulating? In your legs. And you start getting big, swollen up legs. That's why little grandma, when she ambulates to the store to buy a fifth of vodka, she's got Ted stockings on. That's to compress the tissue to prevent that fluid from building up. For the crowd. Tell me you got that. That's beautiful. Okay. Watch. I know you don't want to think today. I get it. You're worried. Acetyl-CoA? Where does that come in? So watch. And I'm going to relate all of this stuff. That's why you got to know the cardiovascular system. Are you following? Now watch. Are you ready? Wait, I can't tell you. I got to tell you this first. And even if I told you this, I don't care. You're going to write this down. Mida, you're going to write it down. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check to make sure you wrote it down.
Are you recording?
Unfortunately, yes. You know, I had a nightmare the other night that administration listens to these recordings.
You should block all of them from YouTube channel. Can you block people?
Can you?
No?
That's an idea. All right, who cares? Watch. Write this down. All systemic veins of the body dump their venous blood into the right side of the heart. Tell me you follow that. All the systemic veins, every freaking vein you got that supplies the cells of your body, that venous blood gets dumped into the right side of the heart. Say yes. Are you with me? You know what that's called? It's called venous return of blood to the right side of the heart. How many people follow this? Okay, now watch. I'm going to ask you to do a little thinking here. All right? Watch. What determines the amount of blood pumped by the right heart? That's very good. Celeste, you're bored in this class, aren't you? Here, have a swig of my Diet Mountain Dew. I'll make you. You're good? You're sick? Well, so am I. Ready? The amount of blood pumped by the right heart is determined by the amount of venous blood returned to it. Say yes. Guys? Say it one more time. Guys? Oh, that whole thing. The amount of blood pumped by the right side of the heart is determined by the amount of venous blood that's returned to it. Are you with me? Which side of the heart pumps more blood, the right or the left? They pump the same. Now watch, I'm going to say it real slow because you're going to get this. Where does the right side of the heart send the blood to? The lungs. So what determines the amount of blood pumped by the left heart? What's that? You're jumping ahead and you're not using logic. Watch. What determines the amount of blood pumped by the right heart? The amount of venous blood that's returned to it. You got me? What determines the amount of blood pumped by the left heart? Here, look.
The amount of blood pumped to the left.
It's clear I'm going to have to tell you. Watch. This is... Okay. That's very good. Right? So watch. Watch. The amount of blood pumped by the right heart is determined by the amount of venous blood that comes back to it. Say yes. If the right and left side of the heart pump the same amount of blood, then the amount of blood pumped by the left heart is determined by the amount of blood pumped by the right heart. Do you see that? And if they're equal, then you can say that ultimately the amount of blood pumped by the left heart is determined by the amount of venous blood that's returned to the right heart. Tell me you see that. Tell me you see that. How many people see you get that? Watch. Watch. And the reason you need to understand this is the next question that I'm going to ask you. Are you ready? Okay. Watch. What's the goal of the cardiovascular system? to maintain, and what's the most important parts of the body to maintain blood flow to? The core. Tell me you got that. So watch. If somebody is bleeding their own blood, and nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody. What's going to happen to your blood volume? What? Good, it's going to go down because you're bleeding your own blood, like a pound of it right on the floor. What's going to happen to venous return of blood to the right side of the heart if you're bleeding your own blood? And if venous return determines the amount of blood pumped by the right heart, what's going to happen to the amount of blood pumped to the lungs by the right heart? It's going to be less. Tell me you got that. So what does that mean in terms of the amount of blood pumped by the left heart and ultimately to your brain? It's going to be less. Say yes. So if you don't maintain blood flow to your brain, you pass out. Say yes. Say yes. Do you follow this? Hang on. I'm going to show you a movie. All right? This movie is me when I was 8 years old and we were at Wisconsin Dells. And I got a slingshot made out of a piece of wood that they put shellac on and a rubber tire. And it was really terrible. You ever see Saving Private Ryan? You ever see that movie? Okay. I'm going to show you. Wade is the medic, right? He's the medic. And he got shot. So watch. Just listen. I can't hook it up. Just listen. Did you catch that?
Yeah, something
Lift his legs up. You're going to learn something today. Ready? Where do you store extra blood? Is there any pressure in the veins? No. So if you're bleeding your own blood, where do you have extra blood that you can now put into the cardiovascular system to maintain blood flow to your brain and vital organs? So watch, there's no pressure, right? So if they lay down like this, that venous blood's going to stay. That's why they say when somebody passes out or they're bleeding their own blood to elevate their legs, because gravity will take all of that venous blood that used to be stored in their legs, and where do all the veins of the body dump their venous blood? Into the right side of the heart. Now more blood comes to the right side, right there. Yep, I got it. And that means more blood's going to go to the lungs, more blood in the left side, more blood to the brain and vital organs. Do you follow that? How many people got that? You have no idea how good that information is right there. That's why when people are bleeding their own blood, if you work in an hospital, United Hospital, that's Spanish for hospital, when somebody's blood pressure is low, there's a little button on the bottom, and you hit it, and it goes like, puts their feet up, putting them on their head. That's why you do it. And nobody sitting in this classroom knew why. It didn't. The education of Gateway Technical College students continues.
Well, if you had an injury to, say, an artery, would that still apply?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, watch, you're going to learn this too. We're not there yet, but watch. If you cut open an artery or cut open a vein, which will you die faster from? An artery, right? Because arteries have blood under pressure. So if you see blood spurtulating, right, like that, you know you severed an artery. Say yes. Now, I had this one guy, Bill. We just thought Bill was kind of slow. I'd say, hey, Bill, how's it going? Good. Then I'm trying to take report from him, and I go, Bill, what's going on? I'm bagging him. I go, did you call a code? No, not yet. We just thought he was slow. What we found out he was doing was, instead of giving the patients morphine, he would give them saline, and he would get the morphine right through his scrubs. Yeah, he was high on morphine. That's why Bill was slow. So anyways, Bill and me are working in the emergency room. Say, yeah. This guy comes in, and he got ran over by a train, tried to kill himself, then had second thoughts. And both of his legs were cut off, right? So one of his legs, I forget which one, is spurtulating blood, right? You got a bunch of arteries down there. Say yes. Blood spurtulating all. So he's trying to block all those holes. And I looked at him and I go, you're kidding, right? What? Arteries come to the surface. Femoral artery supplies all of the oxygenated blood to your leg. So if you've got an artery down here that's severed, you don't try to clamp that. You apply pressure to the femoral artery, and that will cut off the blood flow. They're called pressure points. Say yeah. If somebody got a jacked up arm and their blood spurtulating all over the place, you don't try to plug all the holes. There's a big artery under your arm called your axillary artery, and you apply pressure there. Say yes. Now watch, this gets a little different. If they got a big cut on their head, you don't apply pressure to the carotid arteries, because they supply oxygen and blood to your brain. Don't apply a tourniquet to their neck. Tell me you followed that. Watch. What's blood mostly made out of? Stuff. How many people have contacts? Do you still soak your contacts?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you soak them in?
Well, I don't. It's saline, I think.
Right,
mostly.
it's saline.
Salt
So
water.
when people get IVs started on them in the hospital, it's not water. Like you go to the tapper, okay, here, and you stick it on an IV. It's saline. Tell me you got that. Do people, you know this intuitively, you just know it. Do people sitting in here have different blood types? So if you give a person who is A, has blood type A, you give them B blood, is that good? That's bad. So when you work in an emergency room and you see somebody coming in, you see blood spurtulating out of them. Can you look at that and say, that's A negative all day? No. But in the meantime, blood is spurtulating out of them. But you're going to learn this, that the watery part of your blood, the plasma of your blood, is 0.9% sodium chloride or normal saline. So you start big old IVs on them, and you give them tons of saline until you can find out their blood type, say yes. Because 60% of blood is normal saline. And you do that to keep their blood volume up and then stop the bleeding. Write that down. How many people followed that? Does that make sense? Makes perfect sense. Say yeah. Okay. What determines the amount of blood pumped by the left heart? The amount of blood pumped by the right. What determines the amount of blood pumped by the right side of the heart? The amount of venous blood returned to it. So ipso facto, the amount of blood, oxygenated blood pumped to the cells of the body is determined by the amount of venous blood that's returned to it. Anything that decreases venous return of blood to the right side of the heart is going to decrease oxygenated blood to the cells of your body. Say yes. Yes or no? Guys? How many people followed that? You didn't follow that?
No,
You didn't follow that?
no,
You didn't follow that?
no.
Oh, you want me to repeat this? Watch. What determines the amount of blood pumped by the right heart? The amount of venous blood that's returned to it. And because the right and left side of the heart pump the same amount of blood, it even labeled it right side. Oh, there's left side. Because the right and left side of the heart pump the same amount of blood, what determines the amount of blood pumped by the left side is the amount of blood pumped by the right side. What determines the amount of blood pumped by the right side? The amount of venous blood that's returned to it. So, in actuality, the amount of blood pumped by the left side is determined by the amount of venous return to the right side. Say yes. Yes or no? Okay. That's really good. All right, here we go. So we've established the fact that the right and left side of the heart pump the same amount of blood, correct? All right, that's good. Whoops. Which side of the heart works harder, right or left? The left side of the heart works 5 times harder than the right. Even though they pump the same amount of blood, they do so under very different pressures. Now remember, what's the heart made out of primarily? And what are the 2 things a muscle can do? Boom. So watch. Look, you're going to see this. When the walls of the ventricle contract, boom. Did you see that?
No, I'm sorry.
Pay attention. It's very quick. Watch. Boom. Did you see that? Boom.
The left side?
When the right and left side of the heart contract, they eject blood. Right side lungs, left side body. Say yes. Which is bigger, your lungs or your body? Good, I'm going to write that down. Just think if your lungs were. Right?
Maybe overly oxygenated.
They were. You'd have to have like rollers on your lungs. But then you could kind of hang on your lungs. But if somebody didn't like it, they could just take like a pin and pop your lungs. Hey! What's with that? My right lung's deflating. All right, so here we go. Watch. You better write this down. If you get this wrong, your whole quiz is wrong. I told you this, right? Did I tell you this? Well, I'm telling you this now again. When the left side of the heart, specifically the left ventricle, when it contracts and pushes oxygenated blood to the cells of the body under pressure, that's called your systolic blood pressure.
Say that one more time.
When the left ventricle contracts and ejects oxygenated blood to the cells of the body under pressure, that pressure is called your systolic blood pressure. What's normal systolic blood pressure? 120 millimeters of mercury. If the heart is a muscle, it contracted, so it now has to relax. So when the left ventricle relaxes, is there any pressure in the left ventricle or in the arteries when it's relaxed?
No.
So you go to the doctor and they say, your blood pressure is 120 over 0. You can ambulate home. You guys have been taking vital signs, right? You take vital signs? Did the patient ever ask you what they mean?
Yeah.
And what do you say? You just say, I don't know, I got that one wrong. Watch. When the left ventricle contracts and ejects oxygenated blood to the cells of the body, it exerts a pressure. That's a systolic blood pressure. When the left ventricle relaxes and it's not pushing blood through it, that's your diastolic blood pressure. Is there still pressure in the arteries when the heart is relaxed? Yes. That's called your diastolic blood pressure, and it's usually 80 millimeters of mercury. Tell me you got that.
Can you just repeat that?
Tell me you got that. Diastolic blood pressure is the amount of pressure measured in the arteries when the left ventricle is relaxed and not pushing blood through the arteries. What's a normal diastolic blood pressure? 80. So is there pressure in the arterial system when the heart's relaxed, the left ventricle's relaxed? Yes, it's 80. How many people followed that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So, watch. How many people have taken somebody's pulse? When you take their pulse, that little blip that you feel, that's the left ventricle contracting and pushing blood through the arteries. Then when that little blip goes away, that's the left ventricle relaxing. So what creates the pulse is the difference between the systolic and diastolic pressure. Say yes. And watch, you're not going to believe this, but when you feel somebody's pulse, that's the number of times the left ventricle contracts each minute. Say yes. Yes or no?
So what about old people? Like sometimes if you take their pulse, it's not raising.
They're gonna die soon. A lot of old people have a arrhythmia called atrial fibrillation. Right? Don't worry about that. We ain't got time to talk about that. We got to talk about this. Right? You take my EKG class, I can explain it to you. Not only that, watch. I can explain in 3 weeks. I can teach you how to read a 12-lead EKG with one eye tied behind your back. How many people followed this? Guys, there's a question on your cardiovascular quiz that says define systolic and diastolic blood pressure. I just did that. Say yes. Oh, apparently I didn't tell you this. If you get that wrong, your whole quiz is wrong. Do you understand that? You're not getting out of this class not knowing systolic and diastolic. You cannot not know that. Is that fair? It's totally fair. And watch, people get it wrong. Then you know what I'll do? I'll just flunk them. I'll mark their whole life wrong. I'll go into WebAdvisor, mark their whole life wrong. You ever see this on your transcripts? Whole life wrong. Good luck getting in a clinic with your whole life marked wrong. Tell me You got that? Yeah? Okay. Here we go. Write this down. Or don't. Hang on. Okay, watch. Watch. When the left ventricle contracts, it sends that blood under pressure down to the cells of the body. Say yes. What happens to the pressure of that blood as it gets farther and farther away from the left side of the heart and closer to the cells of the body? It goes down. Say yes. Write this down. Never forget it. Arteries that supply cells of the body are always under pressure. Always under pressure. I don't have enough room to write under pressure, so you're going to write it. Say yes. Guys? Okay. By the time that blood gets down to the cells of our body, that pressure is very, very low. And remember, you got a cell here. What does the cell need? Oh! Well, now it just told you. What does that cell need in order to make ATP aerobically?
Oxygen.
And oxygen is highly concentrated in the arterial end of the capillary. Say yes. What's a byproduct of metabolism that you have to get rid of? CO2. Where's CO2 highly concentrated? It will go into the blood. So when the gases are exchanged, arterial blood becomes venous blood. And is there any pressure in the systemic veins? So how does venous blood get back to your heart? Huh? You're going to study that and you're going to understand that. Where are the largest veins of your body? In your legs. Can you pick your femoral vein? Tim can't come to class today. My femoral vein itches, so I'm going to be scratching it most of the night. Can you? That's because the largest veins of your body are deep inside your muscle, right? And when you walk, what do you do to your veins? You squish them. And when you squish them, they open up those one-way valves, say yes, and push that venous blood back to your heart. Say yes. That's why you wear those sequential decompression devices, because it inflates and deflates to mimic you walking. Yes or no? You followed that. All right, here we go. When I tell you the good news? You want to hear the good news? So, over the weekend, right, I was working on my swing, and what I decided to do is to take the club a little bit more to the outside, right, take it a little steeper back, and then kind of drop it in. Boom. I'm killing it. See, you have to ask, is the good news about us? Easier? I hate me too. How many people here have ever been pregnant? How many people liked being pregnant?
Except towards the end.
Okay, watch. does your baby grow? This ain't a hard question. I'll give you an example of where it does grow, like on your arm. Where does it grow? Okay, watch. What side do they tell pregnant women to sleep on? Why? Pressure on what? Spleen maybe, or the clavicle? Watch. This is the abdominal vena cava. This is the abdominal aorta. Which has pressure in it? The abdominal aorta or the abdominal vena cava? That's very good. Is there any pressure in the veins? Can you squish veins? Where does all the venous blood get dumped into? The right side of the heart. And what determines the amount of blood pumped by the left side? The amount of blood pumped by the right, so ultimately venous return. Say yes. Does your baby have weight? Yeah, you ever see pregnant women? They're walking around like they're a penguin. That baby's has a load. So watch. If you have the woman lay on their right side, the weight of the baby will compress the abdominal vena cava, and they will not get venous return back to the right side of the heart. And that means less blood will be pumped by the left side. And that means less blood will be pumped to the baby. That's why you always tell a pregnant woman to lay on their left side. For the crowd. You know who was saying that? Say what?
I got one thing going for me in the future. I sleep on my left side.
Sleep on my right side.
What did she say?
She said that she has one thing going for her. She sleeps on her left side.
Oh yeah.
She's got good her left side.
So if you wanna get some good sleep, sleep on your left side. Most people do.
I sleep on my right side.
Yeah, there's something wrong with you.
There's a lot of things.
Tell me you got that. Alright, watch. Is there any pressure in the veins? How does venous blood get back to your heart if there's no pressure? Say yes. Watch. When your baby starts growing, it will put pressure on that abdominal vena cava. And it will force that venous blood trying to get back to the right side of the heart downward. And it will stretch out those valves. That's why women get varicose veins when they're pregnant. Say yes. Tell me you followed that. That's why they tell you, there's reasons why they tell you to do stuff. Not just because it's something you should do. Yeah, Marie, you like this game? Oh, talk to him. You never know. Might hear it all. Take him out, hey. Looks like a cheap date. He ain't got a lot of venous return to his heart though, does he, Slips? He ain't got no legs.
Can't have it all.
Yeah. If you lay him down, his name is Matt. If you hang him on the wall, his name's Art. If you hang his dad next to him, that's Pop Art. How many people followed this little thing right here? So where's the only place that nutrients and gases are exchanged? That's very good. The systemic capillary in the cell. Watch. And where do all the systemic veins of the body dump their venous blood? The right side of the heart. Say yes, please. Okay. You know what's sad? It's actually very sad that you guys will get into clinical and then they will be talking about right-sided and left-sided heart failure and like, oh, I have no idea what's going on. I'm not even kidding. And all I can say is, I went over it. So you can never use that as, well, the teacher didn't go over it. And you know what I figured out? Students lie. When I go over, did you go over this in chemistry? No. Nothing. You went over nothing in chemistry. All you did was sit there for 15 weeks. Come on, cut it out. All right, here we go. Watch. I went too far. I like this video because it actually shows you where it is. Where does all the venous blood of the body get dumped into? What kind of blood is venous blood? Describe it. I need a little better.
Low O2, high CO2.
Nice. High CO2, low O2. Tell me you got that. When that blood in the right side of the heart gets pumped to the lungs, what happens to the size of the blood vessels as you get deeper into the pulmonary circulation? They get smaller. You better write this down, better not pout. There are two places that gases are exchanged in the body. I just explained to you one of them. At the systemic capillary in the cell. There's another place. It's at Stan's bar. Yeah. Yeah. I don't go to bars a lot, but like 3 Fridays ago I went to a bar, right? I just wanted to have a beer at a bar. So I ordered a Corona. $3.50.
That's normal.
Anywho, I digress. Watch. What happens to the pulmonary vessels as you get deeper and deeper into the lungs? You better write this down. Until they terminate at a 1 cell thick capillary called a pulmonary capillary. You got me?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to write down.
Pulmonary vessels decrease as you go into the lungs.
The pulmonary vessels decrease as you move in deeper and deeper into the lungs. And the smallest vessel you have in your lungs in the pulmonary circulation is a pulmonary capillary. How thick is a capillary? There you go. You better write this down. Every pulmonary capillary is associated with a one cell membrane thick air sac called an alveoli. So think of ravioli. Tell me you got that. Guys? Okay, so watch. Just like we did with the body, when that blood, that venous blood, that's coming back from the cells of the body, when it gets into the right side of the heart is going to pump that into the lungs. And what happens to the size of the pulmonary vessels as you get deeper and deeper into the lungs? They get smaller until they terminate at what? The pulmonary capillary. And what does every pulmonary capillary have associated with it? An alveoli. So this is how it's going to work, peeps. Hang on. Doesn't even matter. So watch. You need to get this. So this blood from the right side of the heart, right? That blood is high in CO2 and low in O2. You got me? This is the pulmonary capillary. Palm cap. Or P. Diddy. Or just Diddy. Every pulmonary capillary is associated with a one-cell thick air sac called an alveoli. You got me? The air that we breathe is high in oxygen and low in carbon dioxide. What kind of blood is being pumped by the right side of the heart? Just read it. High in CO2, low in oxygen. So CO2 is going to diffuse from high to low, and oxygen is going to diffuse from high to low. And that venous blood now becomes oxygenated blood, and all of the pulmonary capillaries dump that newly oxygenated blood into what side of the heart? The left side of the heart. And then the left side of the heart pumps that blood down where? To the cells of the body. Watch, it's magic. Look, it's turning red. Oh. You ever look at this and just rock back and forth? That's not disturbing. To the cells of the body. Say yes. Guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
That's why it's called circulation. It's a circle. You should see the looks I'm getting. How many people followed this? Guys? Okay. All right, here we go. Just so you know, there's a video on the circulation of blood through the heart. I'm going to explain it to you right now. Are you ready? And I want it explained exactly the way I explain it. Here we go. Hang on, I gotta find it. All right, I'll do it this way. Okay. I'm going to explain to you the circulation of blood through the heart. Before I can do that, I have to give you some of the anatomy of the heart. All right? So you have two sides to your heart. You got the right side, and then you got the left side. Correct? So both the right and left side of the heart are divided into two chambers. So the right side of the heart, right side, has a right atrium and a right ventricle. The left side of the heart has a left atrium and a left ventricle. Are you with me? Just so you know, I would write this down. I would star this, right? I would maybe get a postcard of it. The ventricles are the primary pumps. The ventricles are the primary pumps. The ventricles pump the blood. Are you with me? Who's with me so far? Okay, now watch. The atria and the ventricles, atria up top, ventricles below, are separated from one another by valves. Are you with me? So the valve that separates the right atria from the right ventricle is called the tricuspid valve. Why? Because it's got 3 cusps. Say yes. The left side of the heart, the left atria, is separated from the left ventricle by the mitral valve or bicuspid valve. Are you with me? How many people are following this? Yeah? Okay. Where does the right side of the heart pump the blood to? The lungs. So, separating the right ventricle from this big vessel here, how many lungs you got? Good, 2. This big vessel right here, separating the right ventricle from this big vessel is called the pulmonary trunk. There's a valve that separates the pulmonary trunk from the right ventricle. That valve is called the pulmonic valve or pulmonary valve. You with me, guys? Who's following this so far? A little bit? All right. The left ventricle, when it contracts, it's going to send blood into the biggest artery you got. And the biggest artery you got is the aorta. And the valve that separates the left ventricle from the aorta is called the aortic valve. Now, when you read in your book, that evil book, watch. The tricuspid and mitral valve are called atrioventricular valves or AV valves. Why are they called AV valves? Well, oddly enough, they separate the atria from the ventricle. You following me? Most of you look like you're comatose. Guys? So what are the mitral and tricuspid valve? They are the atrioventricular valves or AV valves. Then you have the pulmonic and aortic valves. And those 2 valves are called the semilunar valves. So in your book, that's what they're going to be called. So the pulmonic valve is the right semilunar valve. The aortic valve is the left semilunar valve. Say yes. Guys? Okay. And what the function of valves are to prevent backflow of blood to the area that they're protecting. So watch. The mitral valve prevents backflow of blood from the right ventricle back into the right atrium. The mitral valve separates or prevents the backflow of blood from the left ventricle into the left atrium. Can I tell you? Thank God I'm recording this. No one's paying attention, are they? Are you? All right. Ready? Are you ready? Okay, watch. I'm going to explain to you now the circulation of blood through the heart. Okay? Before I do this, I'm going to say this. In the strictest of definitions, an artery carries blood away from the heart. Veins carry blood towards the heart. Are you with me? Yes? Okay. This is important, I think. I don't know. Maybe. Systemic arteries. Arteries that supply the cells of your body. Always carry blood that is high in oxygen and low in carbon dioxide. Are you with me? Systemic veins that carry the blood from the cells back to the right side of the heart, always carry blood that's low in oxygen and high in CO2. You got me? So veins in the strictest of definition bring blood back to the heart. Arteries take blood away from the heart. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Watch. The two big veins that collect all the venous blood from the body, this guy right here, because it's above the right atrium, is called the superior vena cava. And this big vein that drains all that venous blood from the lower part of the body is what? You got me? All right, watch. Write this down too. The atria fill with blood first. The atria fill with blood first. So where does all venous blood get dumped into? Initially, the right atrium. What's the valve that separates the right atria from the right ventricle? Don't even say it. I'll just tell you. No, I told you not to say it. When you say stuff like that, you're losing stuff that you learned, like oxaloacetate. Now you just lost that. Guys, the valve that separates the right atria from the right ventricle is the tricuspid valve. Are you with me? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep going. Watch. When venous blood from the inferior and superior vena cava fill the right atria. The right ventricle is empty. Are you with me? So when the right atria is full of blood, it's under high pressure. The right ventricle being empty of blood, it's under low pressure. And where do things always go? High to low. So when the pressure in the right atria reaches a critical value, it's going to force open the tricuspid valve, and 75% of that blood that was in the right atria goes into the right ventricle simply by changes in pressure, high to low. 75%. The other 25% is when the right atria physically contracts and pushes that additional blood into the ventricle. The process of the atria contracting and pushing that additional blood into the ventricle is called atrial kick. And it accounts for about 20 to 25% of total blood flow. Are you with me? Guys? You're not, but I'm just going to keep going. I have to. Okay. So watch. That blood that was in the atria, that's going to move into the ventricle. And it does so by changes in pressure. It's going to force open that tricuspid valve. And now you got blood in the right ventricle. Do you want the blood that was in the right ventricle going back into the right atria? What prevents the blood that was in the right ventricle from going back into the right atria? The tricuspid valve. Say yes. So now the right ventricle's full of blood, and it's going to contract and force open the pulmonic valve, and it's going to send that deoxygenated blood through the pulmonary trunk. Who's with me? You're not. I just got to keep going. And the pulmonary trunk branches into the left and right pulmonary artery. Now, you're probably wondering, well, gee whiz, Timmy, you just said that the blood in the right ventricle is low in oxygen and high in carbon dioxide, so that's venous blood, right? Why is it being sent through an artery? And that's because, in the strictest of definitions, arteries carry blood away from the heart. So in the pulmonary circulation, which I'm explaining to you now, that blood is getting pumped through the pulmonary arteries. Say yes. Anything? What? What do you want me to do? What? What's wrong?
You don't know what's wrong?
No.
Oh.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
No, tell me.
Well, I'm worried about the other test.
Well, okay, watch. To get away from that, right? To never have to worry about that, you can take multiple choice, right? It's okay. It's okay. I don't care. Do you understand? You can do that. But watch. If I got done on, when did I get done? On Tuesday? If you would have took that test on Thursday, last Thursday, would you have been prepared? No. So, if you want me to do it, it's fine. I don't care. I really don't. It will make my life easier. You want to try it? Why don't you all try it and just see how it works? And then if it doesn't work out well, that can be your drop.
No, I don't want. Just for an essay for me then.
What's that?
I would
I don't
advise
wanna
it.
do it. Yeah, I don't.
Well, then what do you want me to do? Do you want me to just stare at you for 3 hours?
No?
Then I'm just not going to look, all right? And just let me do this. But here's the other problem that we run into, right? I ask you to watch those videos before the class, and nobody does it. Do you understand? Now watch. Everything that I explained to you tonight is on a specific video, right? If you watch them and study them, when you come in on Tuesday, you will be completely prepared. Do you understand? Do you understand that? If you don't, you will not be prepared, and there is nothing I can do about that. Do you follow that? Guys? Look, I'm looking for some help here. Any suggestions you want to give me on how to run this class, I will take, as long as it doesn't require more work on my part. I do enough. All you got to do is tell me. So what I'm asking is, look, everything I'm just explaining to you, the circulation of blood through the heart, there's a video. You know what it's called? The circulation of blood through the heart. Right? All the stuff I talked to you about, venous return and how all that stuff happens, there's a specific video. That's called venous return of blood to the heart. There isn't one on there?
No, it is, but that's not
What's it called?
it has like Starling and stuff.
Oh, Starling's Law. Yeah, okay. Well, guess what? I explained that too. Look, it's a beautiful video. Do you understand? Are you worried about studying? How many people are prepared for Thursday? You should be really close. Like, it's review time now for you. You got it down. It's review. Tell me you got that. I don't know what to do. Tell me what you want to do. You know what? You don't even have to tell it out publicly. You know what? Stop me in the hall and go, psst. Or send me an email, right? Send me an email. Say, Tim, look, this would help me. I'm here to help you, right? I'm not here to shove it up your epiglottis. Do you understand that? I don't know. What do you want? What do you need? Will somebody say something?
What time will you be here tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
So, tomorrow. I said it.
What?
You have
What's
a-
tomorrow?
Wednesday?
Yes, I have my day class has it, so they're starting at 10 o'clock. All right, so if you want to take it tomorrow, you can. 10 o'clock. Or come to Kenosha and take it at tomorrow night. So yeah,
What time will you be in Kenosha tomorrow?
I'll be there at 5 o'clock.
What time will your class?
6.
What room?
You want me to just come and pick you up?
Fine, 'cause I'm in my house. I'll cook.
There you go. Right. No, we'll get it to go. Right? Yeah. Look, guys, what do you want? Help Timmy. Help you. I know you're not used to this. I know it, right? I can tell you the deer in the headlights look, but
And, which room?
can I just make a case for myself? Just real quick. 15 years I've been doing this. 15 years. And I always get pushback. I know that, right? But no student who has worked hard and done well has ever complained about my class. because they know it's going to help them. You take that for what it's worth, right? And again, you know what I want for you? I want you to be one of the 3%ers who walk across that stage, right? My batting average is good. There's nothing I can do. Say yeah. Okay, watch. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Class is over for tonight. All right? You go home and study quiz number 2. But watch. I'm not going over the circulation of blood in the heart in class. There's a video for that. Say yes. You got me? Boom. Ohm's flow law and calcium channel blockers and how it works. There's a video for that. I'm not going over that. That would have been tonight. Tell me you got that. So we are moving on from there. Say yes. If you watch the video and you come in early before class, I'll go over it. Is that okay?
Thursday or next week, Tuesday?
Next week, Tuesday. Right? Are you following this? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Guys?
Yes.
Why don't somebody just say something?
Yes.
So you're not gonna go over it now, you're just gonna.
No, because you're not paying attention. Like, I would love to get a GoPro and just show you what I'm looking at. And I'm not being rude. I get it, right? You guys are like, look, you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're living class to class, right? You're not thinking about the future. Oh, the left ventricle. I got to worry about that damn functions of insulin. I get it. That's why I make the videos. But what I'm asking is for you to watch them and study them. Do you understand? Because it's going to be the same thing I'm explaining here. Do you follow that? Yes.
But I was paying attention.
Yeah, I know, I was into this.
Can we go back to
I'm
the
paying
picture?
attention
And
and
at least
taking
go,
notes.
like,
No,
break down the
actually,
first half?
well, okay, I'm not even going to go there. What?
Just so, for the first half, it's superior, inferior vena cava to the right atria, to the tricuspid valve, right ventricle, pulmonic valve, pulmonary arteries.
No, pulmonary trunk, then left and right pulmonary artery.
Thank you.
Say yes. Can I just go through this, then you can ambulate home?
I think you should do what you were gonna do.
I think you
first.
should finish.
I am finished.
That's not fair.
You know what? Life ain't fair. You know what? I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, you know what? And if I would have been like 2 inches taller, I would have been. Because I would have got more leverage. That sucks. You know what they should do? They should have moved the mound up like 3 feet for me. Can't they do that? Here we go. Ready? So what I'm describing for you is the pulmonary circulation, right? So the valve that separates the right atria from the right ventricle, right? Tricuspid valve. Say yes. Remember, when the right atria is full, the right ventricle is empty. So as the venous blood from the inferior and superior vena cava fill the right atria, it's going to start building up pressure in the right atria. And when that pressure hits a critical value, it's going to force open that tricuspid valve, and 75% of the blood that was in the atria goes into the ventricle simply by changes in pressure. How do you get that other 25% in? The atria contract and push that additional blood into the ventricle, called atrial kick. Can you live with 75% of your blood flowing? Say yes. Grandpa and grandma are walking around with a condition called atrial fibrillation, where their atria don't contract, they just quiver. So they're not pushing any blood in. They're not going to leap tall buildings, and they ain't going to pole vault, but they can ambulate down to Joe's Tavern and have a couple shots and a beer. Say yeah. So, can you live without your ventricles contracting? No. If you are in ventricular fibrillation, you are clinically dead. Say yes. That's bad for you. So watch. Now you have the blood in the right ventricle. Who's with me so far? And that blood is what? What kind of blood you got? That's right. So that is blood that is high in CO2, low in oxygen. What's the valve that separates the pulmonary trunk from the right ventricle? Pulmonic valve. So when the right ventricle contracts, it's going to force open that pulmonic valve, and that blood that was in the right ventricle is going to travel through the pulmonary trunk, the left and right pulmonary arteries, say yes, pulmonary arterioles, and then finally the pulmonary capillaries. And what happens in the pulmonary capillaries? Gas exchange. You take on oxygen, you remove CO2. Say yes. And all of that newly oxygenated blood comes back to the left atrium through the pulmonary veins. So the pulmonary veins collect all that newly oxygenated blood from the lungs and dump it into the left atria. Say yes. And when the left atria is full, the left ventricle is empty. And as the newly oxygenated blood from the lungs is filling the left atria, that pressure's building up, and it's going to force open the mitral valve. At 75% of the blood that was in the left atria goes into the left ventricle by changes in pressure. Say yes. How does the other 25% get in there? Atrial kick. Now, the mitral valve snaps shut, and the left ventricle contracts, and it forces that newly oxygenated blood through the aortic valve, through the aorta, and down to the cells of the body. Say yes. You got that. And watch. Now watch. It's going to be beautiful. So when your little left ventricle contracts, it's going to send that blood through the arteries under pressure, systolic and diastolic, down to the cells of the body. Say yes. And where's oxygen highly concentrated? Oh, please, for the love of God. And oxygen needs to sit at the end of the electron transport chain, and CO2 is a byproduct of metabolism. Boom, arterial blood becomes venous blood. All that newly venous blood, where does all that venous blood get dumped into? That's very good. Who said the right atrium? Oh, I expected that. Watch. Tricuspid valve, right ventricle, pulmonic valve, pulmonary trunk, left and right pulmonary arteries, gas exchange, pulmonary veins, left atria. Who's with me? Mitral valve, left ventricle, aortic valve, aorta, cells of the body. Bam. Tell me you got that. Okay, watch. This is going to help you. Well, maybe. Watch. Where is it? Where does the right ventricle pump its blood to? Right ventricle. Where does it pump its blood to? The pulmonary trunk. You got me? Do you want that blood that's in the right ventricle backing up into the right atrium? So to prevent that from happening, once the tricuspid valve closes, you got these little strands of protein. Boom, hang on. These little strands of protein are called chordae tendineae. And connected to the chordae are these little papillary muscles. So when the right ventricle contracts, and I'll show you, the tricuspid valve closes, and the chordae tighten to prevent blood that was in the right ventricle, from backing up into the right atria. Say yes. And then you have chordae. Here's the left atria. Here's the left ventricle. So when there's blood in the left ventricle, do you want that blood that's in the left ventricle backing up into the left atria? So when the mitral valve closes, and then when the left ventricle contracts, it tightens up those chordae by contracting those papillary muscles, and it will send that oxygenated blood to the cells of the body. Tell me you followed that. And the reason the pulmonic and aortic valve don't have chordae is because there's no pressure behind that, right? That blood's just going to fall back down. Here, there's pressure, and you want the blood to go this way. You don't want it to go this way. That's why the AV valves have the chordae and the papillary muscles to prevent that blood from going backwards. Watch. Oh, here's my buddy. He's an idiot. He makes a ton of money, too. Just so you know, I'm coveting. Wish I would have thought of it. Here we go. Watch. Hang on, I'll get there. Hang on. Watch. When the right ventricle contracts, it forces open the pulmonic valve, and the tricuspid valve is shut. What keeps it shut and stabilizes it are those chordae tendineae and those papillary muscles. You with me? The mitral valve, when the left ventricle contracts and sends that oxygenated blood to the cells of the body, the mitral valve shuts so that oxygenated blood doesn't go back into the left atria. What prevents that from flopping around? The chordae and the papillary muscles. So when the papillary muscle or the left ventricle contracts, the papillary muscles contract and tighten up those chordae to prevent that blood from going back into the left atria. Okay, watch. You're going to learn something clinical, whether you like it or not. Watch. Watch. I'm the left atria. There's the left ventricle. And I'm the mitral valve. You got me? When the mitral valve closes, it closes like this. This is a strong position. Do you understand? Watch, push on it. Yeah, you ain't going nowhere. There are some people who have a condition called mitral valve prolapse. Do you know what that means? That's very good. The valve is inverted. Is that a strong position? No. So if you have mitral valve prolapse, watch. If you have mitral valve prolapse, the valve isn't like this, it's inverted like this. Tell me you follow that. So when the left ventricle contracts and tries to send all that oxygenated blood to the cells of the body, some of that blood, because that's a weak valve position, can, what's it called when you throw up? Regurgitate. So the blood was in the left atria. You don't want it going back there. But if it does go back there, that's regurgitation. So you have mitral valve prolapse with mitral valve regurgitation. And if it gets bad enough, then you have to have a mitral valve repair or replace. Say yes. And you can hear that by listening to somebody's heart. You can actually hear the blood gurgling back up. And these people, because of this happening, it's very close to the electrical conduction system of the heart, which I'll explain later. And with that said, when people have their mitral valve gets bad, they get anxiety and their heart rate goes really, 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 really high. So they have to go to mitral valve support groups and talk about it. Say, hi, my name's Timmy. I have mitral valve prolapse. What are you supposed to say? Hi, Timmy. You don't believe me, do you? Do you? How many people believe me? No, there's mitral valve support groups. I shouldn't tell you this, but there's an actual support group for students who take my class. It's called Students in Timmy's Class Support Group. Hi. My name's Mary. I'm in Timmy's class. Hi, Mary. Tell me you followed that. Guys, yes or no? Okay, one more thing and then just go. Just watch Saving Private Ryan, though. Look. Yeah, Wade got shot. Think that hurt? I forgot what I was going to tell you. It was good, too. Oh, here, this is it. Watch. Watch. Which side of the heart pumps more blood? The right or the left? That's very good. Which side of the heart works harder? The right or the left? That's very good. Watch. So if a person is going to have valve problems and have to have a valve replaced, on what side of the heart do you think those valves would have to be replaced? So what valves are the most common to have to be repaired or replaced? The mitral valve and the aortic valve. Almost invariably, if people have problems with their valves, it's mitral and aortic. Say yes. I'm just going to tell you one more thing and then you can go for real. Watch. When you shoot heroin, how many people shoot heroin? You know, because you're reading the textbook. Yeah, okay, that was a good one. There are people who shoot heroin and they share needles and it's not the most sanitary. So you can get bacteria in your blood. And you can get a condition called bacterial endocarditis. It is an infection of the inner layer of the heart. And what happens is that you will start getting bacterial growth, literally like colonies of bacteria on your valves. That's why you see these young kids who are coming in and they have to have like mitral valve or aortic valve replacements. And if you look, they have a history of drug abuse. And typically that drug is heroin. Say yeah. Can I tell you a quick story about bacterial endocarditis? Anyways, there was this lady, I was doing home care in Milwaukee, and she was a heroin addict. So she's shooting up her heroin, and she got bacterial endocarditis, and it was really bad, where she was getting this heavy-duty dose of an antibiotic called vancomycin. Have you ever heard of it? Like, when people are dying, they give you vancomycin. So this lady was in trouble. So you can't take it in a pill. You have to give it into a central line. Because if you give it into a peripheral IV and that IV blows, it will actually eat tissue. Right? So anyways, I had to go there to her house for 7 days to give her this antibiotic, and they had to go in over a 2-hour period. So the first day I had to do it was Friday, right? So I said, look, you better get comfortable. It's going to take some time. So I'm going to go lay in bed, and I can watch TV so you can do it in my bedroom. I'm like, okay. So Saturday morning, I come over, right? And you walk in the front door, and her bedroom was right there. So I walk in, and her bedroom door has this big hole in it. I'm like, what happened? Well, my boyfriend came over, and he got mad, so he took a gun and he blew a hole in my door. I'm like, where is he now? He took off. I said, did you call the cops? Yeah, he took off before he got, they got here. That antibiotic went in like 20 minutes, right? She goes, isn't that going in a little fast? I go, no, don't worry about it. It's fine. You do home care, I'm going to tell you something. A dozen times I've had a gun put in my face. Right? I'm going to kill you. I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. Right? You do home care, you got to be tough. Right? You would go into some of these places, and this one lady, just real quick, I got to tell you this, then you can go. I knock on this lady's door, right? She had like 4 or 5 watches on both arms, different watches. Anyways, she sits down on her couch, and I see cockroaches scurrying. The first thing she says to me is, it feels like bugs are crawling in my mouth. And I'm like, they probably are. So anyways, they have one of these old long houses that are like 10 feet wide, but it's like really long. So all of a sudden I hear this, and her son comes from out of the back, and he pulls a 45 on me. And he's like, get out of my house. I'm like, okay. Tons of times, right? So if you're going to do home care, you better be packing. All right, ambulate home, you better study. Look, listen up. If you're taking that essay on Thursday, if you're going to take that, then you can start at 5. If you're taking the multiple guess, you start at 6:05. Say yes. There ain't no extra credit either.
Can I ask you
What?
a question about this? Okay, I have like a really long answer for number 5 here. Explain how a cell makes
Yeah.
a protein.
Yeah.
Tell me if is this an overkill? It goes there and then it goes all the way on to the next page. Can I leave some of that out? Do I need all
You got
that?
to email this to me. Can you email it to me?
I don't have it typed out, but
Are you talking about how transfer RNA, messenger RNA?
well,
Wait, let me see.
this is number 5. Explain how
Yeah,
a cell
yeah,
makes
no,
a
I know.
protein. I just feel like the question. Or
No,
the
it's a
answer
long
goes on
answer. It's a
forever.
long answer.
Okay. But it's not as long as.
Yes,
It's gonna be through Blackboard now.
it'll be through Blackboard. That's all I
Do
can
we
do.
still need the responders?
Yeah, you do. Hey, can you hit those lights when somebody leaves?
Yeah, I can turn them.
Good night, too.
Okay, you too. Where does this start? Right here?
It
Where?
starts. Oh wait.
Which one are you asking him about, Mary?
I'm asking him about number 5.
5.
Okay, it starts here. Explain how a
Okay.
cell makes a protein. It goes on to.
Oh, yeah.
How what?
How is it?
Oh, I know that one.
It's a long one. Yeah, it's a long one.
Mine's like a 3/4 page type.
Which is like what you're answering for 12 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
You don't need all this.
So what I'm
You don't
wondering-
need all this.
Okay, so that was my first question because we say that. Okay.
Right, you don't need all this. This is the steps for making the protein.
What about on to this here?
I think we're asking the same question, and Buddy.
You guys, why don't you email it to me?
Because it's so much to write out, and I got all this information from the videos because that's where
That's
I
what
get
I
it from.
did too.
But
like,
if you
I
can't
felt
type
like
out your
it-
answers and send them to me and I'll look at them.
Well, no, I wasn't really asking about the answer. More or less, it's just how far along. Like, okay, I'm talking about number 12.
Hang on, let me do hers.
It's 5 and 12 that
Yeah.
are my questions because those are the two that I have like
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
My initial answer was like, I want to say like 4 pages long,
Oh,
and I
geez.
condensed it down.
I got
But I still
5
feel like
down
it's
to 1
really
page.
long.
Yeah, and then 12, I'm like
Yeah.
page and a half.
I just don't want. Like if I don't have to do that much, I don't.
But
You know,
hers
I'm
is
not,
typed.
But that's
I don't
fine.
want. Otherwise, I'm gonna be here for 4 hours
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'll have time to write it all
Right.
out.
No,
That's
this is what you need.
So
This
what,
is this is what you need.
I need this,
You need
I don't need the first
you need
part.
all of this.
I need this.
and this.
And that.
Yes.
So the first three and that.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay, and then for 12, that was our other. Okay. Alright, how did these get like this?
My question is, you get all the way down to the Krebs cycle, and then you start talking about oxygen and hydrogen.
And the electron transport chain? Yes,
Yeah.
you need all of that.
All of that.
All of
and
that.
Then
And
past-
how the hydrogens get pumped from the matrix into the intermembrane
Here's 12.
space when the electrons are passed? Say yeah.
Yeah.
Electrons are oxygen's the final electron acceptor.
Is that where it stops, though?
And then the hydrogens that were in the intermembrane space that got pumped, they come through ATP synthase, and when two of them do, that's enough energy to pop on the ADP to make ATP.
And that's how glucose is. Okay, got it.
Got it?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Say yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my number 12. Can you just look over it? Sorry.
She's so demanding.
I just want to make sure before I go in.
Mary's everyone's teacher.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, we're just teasing.
What did
because
you-
we always
But I don't
send
type
you
mine
a-
out like you do, so it's
What
like
did he cross off?
I type mine out while I like listen. I
Huh?
like transcribe the
off
videos.
of my own.
What did he cross off? Oh.
I keep rewriting them, so
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I've written them out a few times.
Like,
But
This is about me. This is a shot in the dark. It's not his name.
sometimes,
No, no.
Okay, good,
Just
good.
when I used to work.
Really?
And I figured I'd ask.
I'm here to ask.
No, shot in the dark.
You don't need all this info? That's what I have.
see, because I think
What?
it's because you're actually repeating what
What don't
happens.
you need?
Right, so what?
You're
do you-
repeating
DNA.
it. Right.
So that's why I'm like, do I need to rewrite that?
Right. You don't.
Okay.
So wait,
I
what do
didn't
you,
know.
what do you, what, he crossed off like your entire answer then?
No, this was my entire answer. You see how long it is?
So you just need.
Oh.
And then I have.
Yeah, this is fine.
Right,
But
you
what
see
you
what I'm
need
saying?
to do is you need to list the byproducts of CO2, heat, ATP, hydrogen ions, and water. Those are the byproducts. Everything else
And
looks
you
real
want
good.
all the chemical names too, like
So all
acetyl
the-
and whatever that is.
Oxaloacetate. Do we have
And
to
all
say
that
that?
is-
Just
when we say
oxal.
oxal?
Just all you need to know is that a 2-carbon compound acetyl binds with a 4-carbon compound, right?
Okay.
Tell me
Say that
again.
The 2 carbon ones.
The 2-carbon compound acetyl binds with the 4-carbon compound oxal
Okay,
to form the 6-carbon,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So what you make in the Krebs cycle, you don't make ATP a lot. You release those electrons and catch them with NADH2 and FADH2, right? And then they take those electrons that they caught, dump them to the electron transport chain, and as they're dumped, hydrogens get pumped. Say yes. And what's the final electron acceptor? And when 2 oxygens bind there, they combine with 2 hydrogens and form Wawa. So you used up your oxygen. So in order for a Krebs cycle electron transport chain to continue, you got to replace that oxygen.
Oh yeah, duh.
Oh, yeah, and you don't
And
need
the
that.
water's gone.
I just want to see.
Yeah, the water's gone. It's floating around. Who cares?
Will that kill you? No, it's not free floating, never mind, because the electric.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Say yes. Look,
I'm trying to get it.
look,
It's like-
watch. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm trying to help you guys.
Right.
I am. I mean, do you believe that?
Well,
So
yeah.
you have to understand at least at a basic level how metabolism works. You do. Because then that will explain blood flow, why you breathe, all that stuff. And if you don't, you're never going to understand it.
My thing was it took me a really long time to find all these answers. That took forever. And then now
How could
trying
it
to
take
study 'em,
how could it why would it take forever?
it took
I have
forever.
specific videos on
But
almost
they're not
every
labeled like for each question, so you have to
Yes,
go
they
through
are.
and just keep
Yes, they
watching
are.
There were some that I had to
No.
go for the class videos.
Because we've and
not.
tough.
No,
tough.
it's fine. But I'm saying it's jumping around. That's what I think.
that's what
takes
takes
a
so
while.
long is because I've watched the video so many
Watch,
times
watch,
it's just hard
watch,
to
watch.
answer them.
I went over the circulation of blood to the heart.
Mhm.
You know what I would have done? I wouldn't have wrote a thing.
We did. I didn't. We marked down which questions you were
Yeah,
talking
write
about.
down the time.
That's exactly what we did, and that's what we always do. And then we
'Cause
go
I
back
put
and
in-
rewatch, which is fine. I just feel like in this test, I just don't feel like as confident, and I feel like I haven't had as much
The first
time. That's what scares
quiz
me.
one was easy.
Right.
It was easy.
This is way more information.
Absolutely.
And less time.
Absolutely.
To do it in.
But look,
That's my worry. I just feel like I'm scared to take it.
you know what I'm gonna do just to help you guys out?
But I don't want that multiple choice one.
I'm gonna bring students who are in clinical now, okay, that have had my class, and say, if you had to take my class again or a clinical class, what would you do in terms of the amount of work? And I guarantee you, every single one of them would say, I'd take this class again. They're throwing it. You have to have talked to people, right? You know they're going to be throwing shit at you there. And it's not rocket science. It ain't anything new, right? When you get over there, it's not like, well, you know what? We just discovered 8 new organs that you're going to have to look, right? It's all the same stuff. But they throw so much stuff at you. My point is if you have not devoted a specific large amount of your time to studying, when you get over there, it's already over because you haven't done it. So you're going to say, you know what? This is how much time I had to put in for ANP and chemistry and microbiology. That's how much time I'm going to put into clinical. And you're going down and you don't even know it. All I'm trying to do is tell you that this is how much work and effort it's going to take. That's why 3% walk across the stage. Look, if you're not willing to do the work, there are other people who are willing to do the work, right? And I'm not trying to be, I'm trying to help. You think, you have to be out of your mind. If you think, this weekend, I'm going to sit there and read that shit. You have to be out of your mind. I don't want to do that. You know what? And I know I could get away with giving you multiple choice, right? But I don't think that's in your best interest.
Well, yeah,
So-
and multiple choice
Right.
doesn't really
And all
help
I'm
you.
telling
Well,
you
those
is to
take-home
suck it
quizzes
up
suck.
and
Yeah.
study that stuff.
The take-home quizzes are
They
terrible,
suck.
and they're not
So
even.
like,
And we can look up stuff.
Yeah, I
like
don't
that.
learn
It's
over
still
and
hard.
our answers still aren't matching up,
I only
so
learn
it's like.
stuff from what you're saying. I don't learn anything from those quizzes.
I put all the questions, I put a couple of my own in there, but they're all from the book, and it's at a level that you guys are expected to do on the essay. So they're going to have to know some of the intermediates of the metabolic pathway, how they work, right? What's ATP synthase, what that does, right? So it's going to end poorly. And watch, people who take the multiple guess, they've already made up in their mind, I don't want to work this hard. So they're going to fail anyways because they don't know how to read that book and get it. They don't. I get that too. That's why I thought I wouldn't want to get tests out of a book.
I have a friend in your Kenosha class that didn't do too great on her first quiz, and she's going with multiple choice, and I was like, if you're not gonna do much,
It doesn't matter.
No, and you're not.
It does not matter. It does not matter. But you can't go back because I'm not going back and forth. All I'm doing is giving you that option, and then that's less work from me.
I'll do
You
the essay
think
and
people
do the-
think it's gonna be better. It's not because
don't
they're designed to be tricky. Look at those take-home tests, right?
Yeah, the
Look-
take-home
I
tests are.
learned
more time.
And like we said, we can
Yeah.
look up as much as we want and still have a hard time finding the answer because we don't understand the way it's worded and stuff.
Yeah, you literally give us the
Just
questions
gets
and then you give us
It's
the
a joke.
answers.
It's
Yeah.
a joke.
So,
What it
yeah.
is it's a lot of work. And students aren't used to doing this much work. They're not. That's why they don't like it. They don't.
But I asked everybody, I'm like, what are you guys gonna do when you're in nursing school? It's gonna be,
Oh yeah, it's
Hard.
gonna only get harder.
I hear people all the time, I got 2 kids and I work full time. I said, why are you in nursing school then?
Yeah.
Go to horticulture. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right.
It's not. So all I'm telling you is drink the Kool-Aid, work hard. You have everything you need to be successful. Everything is right there for you. All you have to do is work for it.
So how soon do we take the next quiz after?
She hasn't said it.
We have
Cardiovascular.
we have to go through this. You have to
He's
know
only through
this.
the first half.
You have to know this.
just don't tell me it's next Thursday.
It's
No,
not
that's
next
what I'm worried
Thursday.
about.
No.
It's
It's
not
like
next
a week
Thursday.
later.
He
No.
tells you
That's my
after
fear,
you
'cause I
finish,
haven't-
then he tells you then okay now you have a week.
I I have a dumb question.
So he hasn't even
Spelling
said a
for this
date.
task count?
Oh yeah,
Because
like
some of these terms are
oxal,
like-
I'm gonna spell wrong.
Can we
Can I just
said we
write
can write
oxal?
oxal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Said we
I
can
told
write
you that.
oxal.
Because I don't know.
Look,
how
I'm
to
not
say
looking for.
it.
I'm looking for the concept. What
Okay.
what ultimately what I want you
I
to
don't know
get.
how to spell that.
But what I want you to get out of this is, look, you should now begin to understand the importance of oxygen, right? What's the best way to make ATP? Aerobically. And that means you need oxygen, right? So if anything that impairs your breathing or your heart functioning is going to impair oxygen delivery to the cells, and that's going to affect metabolism, and that's going to affect pH, and that's going to affect enzyme function, and then you're screwed. Do you follow that? That's what I want you to get. But there's people at the state of Wisconsin and Madison that say, Timmy, you have to explain that to them. So I got to do that, like cell making a protein. You got to explain the process of protein synthesis. Well, how a cell makes a protein, that's protein synthesis. And if you look compared to the book with the stop codons and the start codons and the spliceosomes, right? I'm simplifying that stuff. All I want you to know is you understand the importance of DNA, the sequence of nucleic acids, and why proteins are important in the body. Boom. Done. There's stuff I have to do. Do I want to do it? No. But I do what I'm told. Right? You should too. And I'm not trying to be, look. You know what I wanted to do today?
Go golf.
Yes, I did. I did.
Yeah.
But instead I had to cut my sister's grass. My point being this, last weekend, when I was grading those tests, I wanted to go Sunday afternoon. But I gave you my word that I would have those graded and on Blackboard by 6 p.m. I didn't go golfing because I didn't have them done. Right? I do everything I say I'm going to do. Right? I work hard for you. Work hard for me. And it will pay off. Right? So just do it.
And shut up about it.
Yeah, kinda.
Understandable.
I'm not being like.
No.
No, I appreciate that you recorded everything, because that's how I
Right,
get all
right,
of this
right.
is
And I
from
get
the
it. And I know I'm
recordings.
going fast, and I know there's a lot of information.
Yeah,
but
and we
The
can
plot
stop
button.
it and
And
write it
rewind.
down.
We're only here twice a
watch,
week.
Right.
watch,
So
watch,
that's the
watch.
best part about it.
10 years ago, never had any of this. All the best they could do was record it. And those people worked hard, and they did good. Right? You got everything you need.
Yeah.
You just have to decide that I'm going to devote the time. Right? That's why a lot of these people do, this class is going to get a lot smaller. It will. Because what's going to happen
Doesn't
is
look like it's gotten
you watch,
softer
it
to
will.
me.
It will. And there's nothing I can do about it because people aren't willing to do that work. They're not willing to do that work.
There's a